Let's talk about how to get a lower mortgage payment in a high interest rate environment without spending thousands of dollars in buyer paid points. How do we do that? A 2-1 buy down. Let's talk about it. Okay, great. What is a 2-1 buy down? Basically, it's a loan program designed to help mortgage borrowers in a high interest rate environment, just like this one, to save money in the first couple years of their mortgage. And it's accomplished by lowering your note rate 2% the first year, 1% the second year, and going back up to the note rate the third year, hence the name 2-1 buy down. So basically rates are about in the 7s these days. So basically your first year's payment will be at 5% rate, then 6%, back up to 7%. With the anticipation that rates will drop after all this Fed action of raising their federal funds rate to tame inflation, which will eventually bring long-term rates down. So if you go ahead and stay tuned to the end, I'll go ahead and show you a detailed example about what it looks like and how it's also much better than a major price drop. Okay, back in the office. A little bit loud out there, but it was pretty nice outside today, so I wanted to get out there. And I also wanted to show some of the Mets Stadium. I know the Mets had a great year, but they kind of blew it at the end, so sucks for the Mets. Anyway, better luck next year. So those of you who haven't met me, I am Emmett Dempsey, mortgage broker and owner of Treasure Coast Mortgage here in Port Saint Lucie, and welcome to another video. Go ahead and leave a like on this video. Go ahead and wake up the YouTube robots, let them know you're still there. Hopefully you get a like. If you don't, you dislike, you do what you feel you need to do. But go ahead and leave a like. Also leave a comment. Let me know what you think about, seller buy downs, 2-1 buy downs, see what you've heard about it. Or your general thoughts about the interest rate and the real estate market, the housing market. So let me know what you think, and I will look forward to talking. Okay, some frequently asked questions about the 2-1 buy down. So what loans can you do this on, and what kind of properties? So basically, you can do it on anything you're going to live in, roughly. So for a conventional financing, Fannie Freddie, you can do it on owner-occupied as well as vacation homes. You can do it on FHA, which is owner-occupied only, and as well as VA loans, because I'm a veteran, I have a VA loan, so I love to be able to help this with veterans, to help them save money in their first couple of years with the 2-1 buy down. So that's what the kind of homes you can do it on. Okay, who pays for this buy down? Basically, it's usually the seller, somebody other than the buyer. So I know a lot of builders are offering this, a lot of builders, lenders, and I know for us, we need the seller to be able to fund this. And how much it costs, it's basically your first year savings plus your second year savings. Say you're saving $500 the first year and $250 the second year. You just add it together, $750 times 12, and that's the amount that the seller has to use in the form of a seller credit in order to fund this 2-1 buy down. Okay, so why would a seller do this? So they do this to help move their inventory. You may have noticed, the market has shifted a lot, which is good for buyers. And you might start to see some price drops in your market. I know I start to see some in our market, although some other markets are worse than ours. But I think the last I saw, almost a quarter of the listings had some sort of a price drop. So instead of a price drop, the seller would ask you to pay their full price and give you a concession towards your closing costs. So you use this closing cost concession in order to fund this 2-1 buy down, save you some money in your first couple of years. Okay, great. So what happens to this money that the seller pays for? It essentially goes into an escrow account that finances your 2-1 buy down. Unlike a permanent buy down or a regular closing cost concessions where it's just one and done, this basically goes to fund your buy down. So if at any time between now and the third year you refinance, that money is yours. It gets used as a principal reduction for the refinance. And like I said earlier, this program is anticipation of rates coming down in that third year. Of course, there's no guarantees rates will, just general history based on Fed action and raising the federal funds rate to tame inflation, which will bring down long-term interest rates. That's kind of what we're anticipating based on the sources I subscribe to. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the example. This one is for a general $500,000 property, but if you want your own personalized example, if you're on the listing side and you're buying, I can run this scenario for you. Just go to dempseymortgage.com and put in your information, and I'll love to help you out. All right, let's go take a look. Okay, here is a mortgage coach example of a $500,000 property and the different options to do once you get a sales concession. And as I said before, if you want a personalized mortgage coach for your listing or if you're buying a house, I'd love to provide one. Just click the link in the description. So to that end, here is the different options. So basically, the first column is $500,000 purchase price with 10% down. That's roughly the median sales price here where I am at in Florida. So basically, with 10% down, $500,000 purchase price, $450 loan amount, about a 7% rate. Yes, rates are that high these days. So roughly about 7%. So about basically $3,550 payment, about $66,000 cash to close. Okay. So what are the options? Let's say the seller, your realtor negotiate a 3% concession. So what do you do with it? All right. So basically, the first one you do is a permanent buy down. Basically, use that money to permanently buy down your interest rate. Your interest rate doesn't change, so you buy down about 6.25. So it's only gets you about 0.75% off the note rate. With that same amount of money, saves you $223 a month. Okay, it's roughly the same cash to close. So that's a permanent buy down. Okay, so this is the next column is a 2-1 buy down that we talked about. 2% the first year, 1% the second year. Okay, so your first starting note rate will be 5%. So that's a $578 a month savings. Okay, and then but roughly same cash to close. Okay, the next one is, because what if I just ask for a price drop? So the thing about a price drop is you don't get as much off of your payment as you think you do, because it's all scalable to the amount that you're financing. So if you're putting down a lot of money, or if it's basically it's major if you're paying cash, but if you're financing, a price drop is really not as great of an option as you think it is. So, and don't let them say that a price drop equals a concession. They're very, very different. The concession will go to your bottom line, whereas a concession or a price drop is scalable to the amount you're financing. So what would happen? Basically, a little bit less cash to close, from 66 down to 65, but only saves you $94 a month in payment. Okay, so you can kind of take a look here. The payment stream on the 2-1 buy down. So the first 12 months, it's 5%, then 6%, then 7%. Okay, so if you look at over here, the monthly payment differences, and basically $223 a month, the permanent buy down, $578 a month the first year, and then $94 a month with a 3% price drop. And this mortgage coach will calculate the savings over a certain amount of time. Usually defaults to 5 years, but I did it within a 3-year time frame or 36 months. And this is just the savings about what you're saving, because again, it starts at 5, then it goes to 6. So overall, what your overall savings are. And then as far as interest that you're going to pay, down, still the lowest. So in my opinion, at this particular cycle where we're at the rate market, a 2-1 buy down is definitely a great option to take a look at with anticipation that rates coming down. At this point in the video, you're probably wondering what a permanent buy down is. I did a video about that scenario. So go ahead and check it out right here. Go and click on that video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.